The mountains do not speak in words. They breathe in eras. And if you listen long enough, you can hear the echo of their heartbeat, deep, slow, older than every story humanity has ever told. Look at them. Their edges softened by time, their shadows folding into the blue distance. Have you ever wondered what it means for something so immense to rest? Tonight, you'll fall asleep to science, but not the kind found in textbooks. This is sleepy science narration, where knowledge moves at the pace of dreams, and even gravity sounds like a lullaby. The most relaxing science is the kind that feels like a whisper from the earth itself. Mountains are not still. They rise, sink, and sigh, shaped by forces both fierce and patient. Beneath your feet, continents drift like silent rafts, colliding, folding, creating the wrinkles we call ranges. Each peak is a frozen wave in the slowest ocean imaginable, the ocean of rock. And even now, as you breathe, those waves are still moving, rising a few millimeters each year. The planet never truly sleeps. It simply changes rhythm. The science of mountains is a story of balance, pressure, and release, silence, and thunder. Imagine the crust of the earth like a great blanket, wrinkled by time and heat. Beneath it, molten stone flows like liquid honey, forming chambers of magma that cool into granite bones. The mountain's heart beats slower than yours, but it beats still with the pulse of geothermal energy that has shaped every valley, river, and forest we know. When the night wind touches those peaks, it carries particles that once lay buried under oceans. The air you breathe tonight has touched stone older than the moonlight itself. Isn't that thought a kind of peaceful enormity, enough to make your body soften? You are safe now. You are small in the best possible way. Your heart belongs to the same physics that holds the mountain's upright pressure from below gravity, from above, always finding the center. Every heartbeat echoes the same equilibrium. If you could watch the life of a mountain in fast motion, it would look alive. It grows. It crumbles. It heals itself through erosion. Rivers carve wounds that become valleys of light. From those valleys, trees rise like slow prayers, and glaciers sculpt silence into shape. This, too, is relaxing science, the study of patience. Because mountains remind us that strength does not mean speed. They teach us that the world's most powerful movements are almost invisible. Close your eyes and imagine yourself standing among them. The air is thin, clean, and carries the scent of cold minerals. You hear nothing but your breath and the low hum of wind tracing through stone. The stars above seem close enough to touch. Every inhale is a small act of geology. You are participating in the mountain's rhythm, one molecule of oxygen at a time. You might wonder if mountains move so slowly. How do we know geologists use satellites to measure their rise and fall with laser precision? Some mountains, like the Himalayas, still rise about 5 millimeters per year. That's slower than your nails grow yet. Over millions of years, it becomes Everest. This is dreamy science, to realize that the world we think of as fixed is quietly expanding beneath our feet. To fall asleep to science is to understand that even stillness is motion in disguise, somewhere far beneath your bed. Tonight, tectonic plates are sliding past one another, the same plates that once joined continents into a single cradle called Pangea. And as they move, they hum. The sound is too deep for human ears, a global murmur measured only by seismographs. But if you could feel it, it would sound like the low, steady breath of the earth. That is what you're hearing when you listen closely enough to silence. The night continues, and maybe your mind travels this way too slowly, quietly, across unseen boundaries, guided by the same physics that shapes the world. You are resting inside the story of a planet still becoming itself. And that is enough. Some nights, when the air is perfectly still, mountains release the day's heat in faint exhalations. You can almost sense the invisible sigh of stone as it cools under moonlight. This is not imagination. It's radiant energy diffusing from the rocks that spent all day absorbing sunlight. In a way, mountains dream too. Their sleep is a slow conversation between temperature and time. And tonight, as you listen to this sleepy science narration, you are part of that dialogue, a small consciousness resting inside the long rhythm of the earth. Geologists call it thermal inertia, the tendency of large bodies to resist quick changes in temperature. Mountains, with their mass and mineral density, change temperature more slowly than the air around them. That's why dawn takes longer. In the valleys, sunlight needs time to awaken the stone. But in the darkness, this slow release of warmth forms gentle air currents that drift down the slopes. Even the wind you see is born from the mountain's breathing. You can fall asleep to science because it's not just facts, it's feelings turned visible. Think of this. Every rock is a chapter of Earth's diary. Basalt, granite, shale, each formed under unique pressures in heat and silence. The minerals glitter faintly, like embedded memories, reflections of ancient fires. If you hold one in your hand, you're holding an artifact from a world that existed long before language. You are literally touching time. You are safe now. Your body, too, is ancient material. The calcium in your bones was forged in the heart of a star that died billions of years ago. The iron in your blood once flowed through meteorites that helped shape these mountains. When you rest, you are returning to that cosmic ancestry. Relaxing science reminds us that we don't live on the earth. We live as the earth. Close your eyes and listen. A glacier groans somewhere in the distance, shifting under its own weight. Crystals of ice grind softly, carving another millimeter of history. In the silence, water melts and refreezes, an endless cycle that sculpts cliffs and valleys. It's easy to imagine this as destruction, but it's not. It's transformation. Mountains are not monuments. They are verbs. They're always becoming. And in their slow becoming, there's a message for us. You don't have to rush to matter. Sometimes, the most dreamy science is the kind that makes us stop measuring. Mountains measure time differently, not by minutes, but by layers of sediment, by fossils buried under pressure, by echoes that take a century to fade. Even the moss on their slopes follows the same patient rhythm, drinking from mist rather than rain. Everything alive here has learned to move at the speed of stillness. Do you remember the first time you saw a mountain? Maybe from a window, maybe from the road, that quiet awe rising in your chest. It was not just beauty. It was recognition. Your nervous system relaxed because it sensed scale, something vast enough to hold your worries without judgment. That's the psychology of awe, a measurable phenomenon in neuroscience. When faced with grandeur, the brain's default mode network quiets. Your thoughts soften. Your breath deepens. Awe is nature's anesthesia for overthinking. That's why sleepy science works. It bridges knowledge and calm. To fall asleep to science is to let wonder lower your heart rate. When the mind finds meaning in the vastness, it no longer needs control. It just drifts. You are part of this planetary exhale now. Your breath joins the clouds, forming at the mountain's crown, warm vapor meeting cold sky. Somewhere, condensation forms preparing tomorrow's rain. The water will descend, touch soil, join a river, and maybe centuries later, return as snow again. Cycles upon cycles. Dreamy science, infinite patience. Perhaps tonight you can imagine yourself as one of those droplets sliding gently down the slope, carried by gravity and light. Nothing to achieve, nowhere to go. Just flow. The mountain rests, and so do you. In its silence, there is presence. In its slowness, there is wisdom. Listen carefully. Beneath the quiet hum of the world, there's a single message being whispered through every grain of sand and stone. You are enough, even when you are still. The night continues. Maybe your dreams will follow the same contours, climbing, resting, dissolving into mist. And when you wake, perhaps you'll remember that even giants need time to rest. Somewhere above the tree line, where the air thins into crystal clarity, the stars seem closer, as if the mountains are lifting your gaze just a little nearer to forever. You can feel the quiet geometry of it all. Peaks rising in a slow rhythm, constellations mirrored in snow-capped valleys, sleeping like folded hands. This is the gentle intersection between geology and astronomy, where relaxing science reveals that the ground beneath you and the sky above you were born from the same cosmic dust. To fall asleep to science is to return to that unity matter, remembering itself across distance and time. In the stillness, you notice how sound behaves differently here. It doesn't echo sharply, but diffuses softly, caught by uneven cliffs and ancient forests. Every rustle is absorbed by moss, every whisper cushioned by lichen that has held dew for centuries. Even silence has texture, velvety, porous, alive. It's the kind of silence that teaches your pulse to slow down. Your heartbeat matches the long breath of the earth. You are safe now. You are home in the oldest room of the world. Mountains may look motionless, but deep inside them are rivers of stone. Molten rock cools into minerals. Minerals shift into crystals. Crystals fracture under pressure and become dust again. It's a patient choreography, destruction as creation. When you hold a pebble, you're touching the ashes of volcanoes, the remnants of tectonic passion. This is dreamy science, fire becoming stillness. Chaos, learning grace. Each mineral grain tells of unimaginable heat transformed into calm solidity, proof that even fury given time becomes peace. Have you ever wondered why snow looks blue in shadow? It's because ice absorbs red wavelength more than blue. That's real measurable physics. Yet it feels like poetry, the mountain wearing its bruises in light. In the glow of early dawn, snow refracts every hue. The sky offers pinks of thin atmosphere, gold of the coming sun, violet remnants of night. It's not just beautiful. It's a record of scattering and reflection of photons traveling across space to find a home in your eyes. The most relaxing science is when truth looks exactly like wonder. You might not realize it, but your brain reacts to these sights as medicine. Neuroscientists call it soft fascination, the kind of gentle attention evoked by clouds, waves, or horizons. Unlike screens or flashing lights, these natural patterns don't demand focus. They invite it. They let your prefrontal cortex rest, allowing the mind to drift without fear of being lost. That's why staring at mountains can make you sleepy. Your nervous system recognizes the pattern of safety: stable, vast, dependable. Mountains don't hurry. They remind every restless thought there's time. Listen again. Far below, water traces a slow descent through granite fissures. Each drop takes decades to travel, collecting minerals, polishing stone into smooth passageways. When it emerges as a spring, it carries the memory of every layer it has touched. That water might one day become part of your own body. You are made from the same patience that carved the world. You are safe now. Even your thoughts, like streams, can meander. There's no destination tonight, only flow. Your neurons fire softly, like campfires, beneath the skull's horizon, replaying images of peaks and stars. This is sleepy science narration, a dream disguised as knowledge, or perhaps knowledge disguised as a dream. When sunlight returns, the mountains will stretch again. They actually expand with warmth and contract with cold, a phenomenon called thermal expansion. Over centuries, this simple process splits rock forms soil and gives birth to the meadows where animals graze. So even rest, even cooling, contributes to renewal. The world grows by breathing out. Maybe that's what your body is doing now. Exhaling the noise of the day, inhaling the quiet shape of eternity. In each slow breath, you match the rhythm of tectonic time. You are no longer rushing through hours. You are drifting through epochs. And in this scale, every worry becomes microscopic, a grain of dust on a glacier that will one day melt into peace. Let yourself soften further. Let thought dissolve like snow in spring light. Mountains do not ask for perfection. They only ask for presence. They hold the same lesson for rock and human alike. What seems unmovable can still change gently, invisibly, until one day it becomes light enough to rise. The night continues. Somewhere, frost forms tiny constellations on a window of stone, and the stars above nod in agreement. Maybe your mind, too, is crystallizing into stillness, transparent, silent, infinite. Dawn approaches slowly in the mountains, not as a flash of light, but as a tender unveiling. Before the sun touches the peaks, the air turns silver. Shadows retreat inch by inch, and the snow begins to glow from within. You can almost hear it, the faint crackle of crystals adjusting to warmth. It's a sound that exists between physics and prayer. This, too, is relaxing science, the thermodynamics of light turning cold matter into living brilliance. To fall asleep to science is to realize that what we call morning is merely energy reintroducing itself gently, faithfully, every day. If you stood at that altitude, you'd feel the thinness of air, oxygen molecules sparse and delicate. They move slower in the cold, colliding less frequently, carrying whispers instead of words. Your breath would form small clouds, temporary ghosts vanishing into the sky. But the mountain breathes with you as warm air from valleys rises. It curls around ridges like soft fingers. Convection currents, they're called invisible rivers of temperature. They sculpt the clouds, stir the mist, and tell migratory birds when to rest. The sky, like the earth, has its own bloodstream. You are safe now. Imagine sitting at the edge of a cliff, wrapped in a blanket of silence. Below you, forests shimmer in blue shadow. Each tree exhales moisture, and the air smells faintly of pine and mineral. You can almost taste it, the chemistry of life itself. Oxygen, terpenes, a hint of ozone from last night's lightning. Every inhale is a tiny act of connection, a molecule's journey from root to leaf to lung. This is dreamy science, but it's also truth. You are literally breathing the exhalation of trees, and they in turn breathe yours. Do you hear the birds yet? At this hour, their calls echo differently, slower, softer, like the earth tuning itself for the day. Each sound wave ripples through the cool air, bouncing off rock and snow. Acousticians have measured this phenomenon. Low frequencies travel farther in thin air, giving the mountains their haunting resonance. That's why a single bird call can sound like an orchestra when it passes through a canyon. The landscape amplifies life, turning every note into a hymn of distance. Maybe that's why silence feels musical here. It's full of unfinished echoes, waiting to return home. The relaxing science of sound is simple, but sacred waves need space to breathe. Your thoughts are waves too. Give them room, and they soften. Squeeze them, and they scatter into noise. So tonight, as you drift further into rest, let your inner landscape widen. Let each worry find its echo and fade. The mountain is teaching you acoustics of peace. In the valley below, streams awaken. Glacial melt begins its descent, tracing familiar paths carved over millennia. That water, chilled and pure, carries trace elements of quartz and feldspar minerals that once glowed in the planet's molten youth. When sunlight hits them, they refract into fleeting rainbows. So even the smallest ripple in a mountain brook is a prism bending physics into poetry. You are safe now. You are surrounded by laws of nature that have never failed. Gravity holds you with the same certainty it holds the stars. Entropy turns chaos into form, then form into peace. Everything around you obeys an ancient rhythm, and you are part of it. There is nothing here to prove, nothing left to fix. Only to witness. The sleepy science narration continues softly. The snow melts, the rivers run, and eventually the water finds its way to the ocean. There, under immense pressure, it becomes cloud again. The cycle renews solid, liquid vapor dream. You might call that meteorology. The mountains call it memory. In some distant age, these same peaks will crumble. Wind will polish their bones to dust, and those grains will drift to form beaches, dunes, and fertile soil. From that soil, forests will rise. From those forests, life will bloom. And perhaps someday, another mind like yours will look at new mountains and wonder how something so grand could begin as sand. That's the hidden kindness of geology. Nothing is lost. Everything becomes. Breathe. Let that thought settle like mist in your lungs. Even decay is generosity. Even endings are beginnings in disguise. The mountain knows this, and so does your heart. The night continues. Maybe your dreams are already wandering along those ridges, touching light and shadow, learning how to rest without stopping. And somewhere far away, another sunrise begins, because the planet never stops turning, not even when you sleep. By mid-morning, sunlight drapes the slopes like a slow river of gold. Mist rises from the forest, curling into delicate spirals that vanish almost as soon as they appear. Every particle of vapor follows the same invisible laws: temperature, pressure, density, a choreography older than language. This is relaxing science at its purest, the hidden elegance of equilibrium. To fall asleep to science is to realize that the universe, for all its complexity, is simply learning how to balance. From a distance, the mountain appears eternal. But look closer, and you'll see movement everywhere. Pebbles slide, roots expand moss. Drinks the dew that gravity brings. The illusion of stillness is just the world moving slower than your eyes can see. Even the granite beneath your feet is expanding and contracting with each heartbeat of heat. That's the gentle pulse of thermal life, the Earth's breath translated into stone. The dreamy science of matter whispers nothing is dead. Everything is merely resting between changes. You are safe now. Let that idea sink into you, that rest itself is a form of participation. When you stop rushing, you're not falling behind. You're syncing with the mountain's rhythm. The neurons in your brain begin to hum in slower frequencies, alpha waves spreading like soft light through a forest canopy. This is what neuroscientists call entrainment, your body aligning with the calm environment it perceives. So while your mind listens to these words, your biology listens to the mountain. Every cell adjusts to stillness. Every breath rewrites its tempo. Have you ever felt the texture of a rock warmed by sunlight? It feels alive, a quiet skin holding stories. That heat traveled millions of kilometers from the sun, passed through clouds, crossed air, and came to rest in your palm. Energy completing its pilgrimage. The relaxing science of thermodynamics becomes an act of devotion, the way the cosmos shares its warmth with everything that can receive. You are a receiver too. Even now, behind closed eyes, photons linger on your skin like kind memories that refuse to fade. Listen. Far above the snow line glitters like a thought half remembered. Each crystal forms when a droplet meets a speck of dust, the tiniest imperfection giving birth to beauty. That's how snowflakes begin. Flaws turned into symmetry. If mountains could dream, that's what they'd dream of, small weaknesses made perfect by time. Isn't that what healing feels like? You take what once hurt and let patience carve it into pattern. The sleepy science narration continues. A hawk glides across the valley, tracing invisible thermals. It barely moves its wings. The air does the work. Aerodynamics in slow motion. Lift, drag, gravity, forces in delicate argument until they find consensus. Even flight, that miracle we admire, is just physics at peace with itself. To fall asleep to science is to rest inside that same peace. Somewhere in a cavern, no one will ever see water drips from stalactites. Each drop carries a trace of dissolved limestone. When it falls, it leaves behind a mineral kiss that grows molecule by molecule into a column of stone. Centuries pass. A stalactite meets a stalagmite. They touch. The cave rejoices quietly. This is geology's version of patience, rewarded time, creating connection. You are safe now. Every slow process of the planet mirrors something in you. Your bones strengthen the way rocks do through pressure and repair. Your memories layer like sediment, compacted by emotion, waiting for gentle erosion to reveal their shape. You are not separate from the Earth's evolution. You are one of its softer experiments. If you listen deeply enough, you'll notice that your own breath sounds like wind moving through pine needles. Your pulse echoes the rhythm of distant thunder. In the grand orchestra of existence, you are both instrument and melody. The mountain does not stand apart. It sings you. And somewhere in that vast song, a truth begins to hum. Rest is participation in the harmony of all things. The light begins to fade again. The cycle continues warm to cool bright to dim, each moment, an eyelid closing gently over the day. As dusk approaches, colors return to whisper. Amber becomes violet, green melts into blue. The world exhales, the night continues. Maybe as you drift further, you'll feel the mountain breathing with you, steady, calm, ancient. Perhaps you'll dream of becoming part of it, a single grain of quartz, illuminated by moonlight, unhurried, unbroken, eternal. As afternoon thins into amber, the mountain begins its evening work. It rearranges the air. Warm valley winds rise, and cool water vapor condenses into cloud along the ridgelines, and the sky learns new shapes called lenticulars, smooth lens like clouds stacked like quiet ships above the peaks. Pilots read them as signals of standing waves. Hikers read them as omens of weather. Your nervous system reads them as softness. This is relaxing science. You can see orographic lift turning invisible moisture into visible silk. When you fall asleep to science, you are letting ordinary physics become a cradle. A ridge is not just a line of rock. It is an instrument the atmosphere plays. As wind flows over it, vortices peel away on the leeward side, small whirlpools of air that unwind into distance. Engineers watch these dances when they design bridges. Ravens surf them for joy. The world is always negotiating pressure with velocity, density, with temperature, gravity, with buoyancy. Dreamy science is simply the art of noticing those negotiations without needing to interfere. You don't have to fix the wind. You only have to feel it slow. You are safe now. The mountain's size protects your tiny, tender interior from any rush. Let your breath arrive like a traveler who knows there will be plenty of rooms at the inn. Exhale as if setting down a pack that was heavier than you admitted. I'm here with you. The voice you hear is steady on purpose, a slow narration shaped to the rhythms of your parasympathetic system, a sleepy science narration designed to lead your heart rate down the slope toward calm. Erosion begins with intimacy. A single droplet finds micro-crack and freezes. Water expands by roughly 9% as it becomes ice pressing against the walls of the crack until the rock sighs apart. Frost wedging is the gentle fist of winter, working over years, centuries, to make scree fields and talus fans where wildflowers later take root. In summer, lichens paint acids over mineral faces, freeing nutrients, grain by grain. The first soil is a slow poem, letters written in quartz and feldspar. Even the quiet green stains on stone are laboratories. If you listen with your fingertips, you can hear chemistry taking its time. Have you noticed how colors change as the sun lowers? Alpenglow is not the mountain glowing from within. It is sunlight scattering through a long path of atmosphere, reddened like embers, kissing high slopes long after the valleys have gone blue. Photons that left the sun 8 minutes ago become a rose veil on snow. The most relaxing science is the kind that lets wonder keep its robe. We explain without undressing the magic. To fall asleep to science here is to feel that explanation and enchantment are not enemies, but two hands tucking you in. Far below, a glacier keeps books in a language of layers. Winter snows compact to fern, then to interlocking crystals of ice. Trapped bubbles record the breath of ancient summers, the carbon, the pollen, the ash of distant fires. Glaciers flow because ice under pressure becomes a kind of very slow liquid. Basal, slip internal deformation. Words that mean patience has a direction. A glacier can move a meter a day or a meter a year. Either way, it carries whole valleys, forward grinding rock to flower that rivers will deliver to the sea. The planet writes its memoirs in sediment, then reads them back as beaches. You are safe now. This long story asks nothing from you except presence. The ache in your shoulders can evaporate into the same air that built those clouds. I'm here with you. If a thought tries to hurry you, imagine it as a pebble starting a small tumble down a slope, harmless, inevitable ending in rest among other pebbles that also believed they had to be boulders forever. Some evenings, the mountain sings without sound. The sun slips below the horizon and the temperature gradient steepens. Katabatic winds begin to pour down the gullies, cool, dense air flowing like milk into the bowl of the valley. Animals know this clock by feel. Deer descend to meadows. Owls rise into their soft geometry of flight. The first stars appear not as points, but as confidences, returning. A bat scribbles an equation of hunger and echo. The equation always balances. Dreamy science lives in these living proofs that systems can be complex, yet soothing, intricate, yet restful. Isostasy is the mountain's self-care. When erosion takes weight from the top, the crust floats higher on the mantle, like an iceberg rising as its tip melts. Removal becomes ascent. Loss becomes lightness. If you need a metaphor, the body can believe, take this one. Every piece of worry you set down lets you float a fraction higher in your own life. This is not just poetry. It is physics wearing a blanket of kindness. Your skin understands the evening before your thoughts do. Receptors in your retina taste the blue thinning from the light. Melatonin rises inside you like a tide returning to its harbor. The suprachiasmatic nucleus, the brain's quiet clock, nods to the pineal gland. Let the night begin. To fall asleep to science is to recognize that your biology has been rehearsing this lullaby since before your first memory. You don't have to conduct the symphony. The instruments already know the score. Listen to the rocks breathe. During the day they swelled. Now they contract. Microscopic fractures open and close with the temperature, swing a diurnal pulse that feeds the mountain's slow renewal. Out on a ledge, cushions of alpine plants conserve heat in their compact shapes, photosynthesizing at a thrift that would impress any accountant. Marmots whistle and vanish. A fox prints temporary mathematics in dust. Everything obeys the kindness of limits. Everything rests by cooperating with what is. You are safe now. Let your jaw loosen. Let your tongue rest against the roof of your mouth, wide and quiet. Imagine the diaphragm as a glider, riding a gentle thermal on each inhale, descending on each exhale without effort. I'm here with you. The story will carry you. Your only job is to lean. Night gathers her shawl. Above the western ridge, a planet brightens Venus, perhaps, or Jupiter, and you remember that mountains and planets share a family resemblance. Both are negotiations between mass and motion. Both are signatures of gravity's handwriting. In the blue dark, the Milky Way becomes a river again. If you listen with your eyes, you can hear it, billions of suns whispering the same refrain, that time is not an enemy, that we are always arriving. This is sleepy science narration, but it is also a map. You can walk wind over crest ice in a crack light on a ridge, breath in a chest. Relaxing science, repeated like a mantra, turns to medicine. And as you let the mantra dissolve into hush, notice the scale shift from galaxy to granite to heartbeat and back. Systems nested inside. Systems, each one a softer room inside the next, each room lamp-lit with enough space for you to lie down. The night continues. Maybe your mind will travel along those lenticular ships, drift over the ridge, and anchor in a harbor of quiet knowing that even giants need time to rest, and so do you, quietly, endlessly. When true night falls over the mountains, the darkness doesn't arrive all at once. It flows down the slopes like ink in water, finding every crevice, filling each hollow with stillness. One by one, the colors withdraw, leaving only gradients of blue and shadow. The last warmth from the sun lingers on the highest peaks like a candle forgotten in a cathedral. This is when the mountain begins to listen to the wind, to the stars, to you. And as you breathe in this sleepy science narration, you become part of that conversation, a soft pulse of consciousness floating in the geology of dreams. Far above, air thins into silence. Here, the molecules are too sparse to carry much sound. The result is an acoustic stillness so deep that even your heartbeat feels loud. To physicists, this is simply a decrease in density and pressure, fewer collisions, less vibration. But to the soul, it feels like holiness, a place where even echoes rest. Relaxing science, when it reaches this altitude, starts to resemble prayer. To fall asleep to science is to surrender to the same law of energy, conservation, nothing wasted, everything transformed into calm. The stars, too, perform their slow, predictable dance. Their light, billions of years old, bends slightly as it meets the atmosphere. Astronomers call it refraction. You might call it tenderness, the sky adjusting itself so that you can see. Each photon that reaches your eye tonight has traveled across unimaginable distances, dodging dust, weaving through gravity's lensing, just to end its journey on your retina. Your brain interprets it as starlight, but in truth, it's history arriving as light. Dreamy science, every twinkle is an archive of time. You are safe now. There is nothing between you and the universe but air and wonder. Even the cold feels kind, a reminder that sensation is proof of belonging. Your body, a small echo of thermodynamics, radiates warmth back to the sky. Heat leaves you, joins the air, and becomes part of the mountain's weather. Nothing is ever lost. It only changes form. That's the secret rhythm, holding everything together, from galaxies to your quiet breath. Down in the valley, nocturnal creatures awaken. Bats trace invisible constellations of sound, each chirp a sonar map of survival. Their world is built not on light, but on echoes, on milliseconds of reflection. Neuroscientists have found that the same regions in a bat's brain used for navigation are mirrored in humans for memory and imagination. So when you picture the mountain in your mind, you're echolocating with thought, creating a map of peace from invisible waves. To dream is a form of navigation. To rest is to trust that your inner world knows the way home. Listen closely. Somewhere a small avalanche tumbles, not a disaster, but a sigh. Snow readjusting itself for stability, seeking its angle of repose. Even the mountain understands boundaries, too steep, and it must release. The relaxing science of slopes teaches us that letting go is equilibrium, not failure. You too are allowed to release what feels heavy. The laws of physics approve, and below all that hidden, beneath kilometers of rock, the earth hums. It's a real phenomenon, measured by seismologists, microseisms, vibrations too low for human hearing, caused by waves colliding across the ocean. They travel through the crust like slow music. Some call it the Earth's heartbeat. If you could hear it, it would sound like a deep cello note, sustained for eternity. Right now, that sound is passing through you. You are literally vibrating with the planet's pulse. Sleepy science doesn't get more intimate than that. You are safe now. Your breath aligns with the Earth's resonance around 7.83 Hertz, the Schumann frequency, the global electromagnetic whisper of lightning and atmosphere. Some call it coincidence, others call it harmony. Either way, your nervous system recognizes it as calm. Your brain waves in the borderland between wake and sleep begin to synchronize with that rhythm. This is what it means to fall asleep to science, to realize that your body and the planet are performing the same lullaby. Look up again. The Milky Way spills across the sky like powdered stone. Each dust lane, a memory of stars that burned themselves into dust so others could be born. The universe recycles itself endlessly. Supernovas, atoms, or hearts. Your carbon, your calcium, your breath, all borrowed stardust. You are not small. You are specific. A precise combination of cosmic patience and local warmth. The mountain doesn't tower over you. It mirrors you. Both of you are arrangements of the same materials resting in different tempos. The night continues. Maybe as sleep begins to draw its curtain, you can imagine those stars not as distant suns, but as neurons in the sky, each one firing once a thought in the universe's dreaming mind. And maybe that mind is dreaming you too softly, endlessly, safely. Far into the night, the mountain enters a state of perfect equilibrium. Every motion, wind, heat, sound slows into near stillness, like a breath held by the planet itself. Above, the sky deepens to velvet, pierced only by the steady shimmer of ancient light. The world becomes so quiet that even time feels hesitant to pass. This is the kingdom of true sleepy science, where physics itself seems to rest. Here you can finally fall asleep to science and feel it not as theory, but as presence, gentle, steady, infinite. In this darkness, your senses shift from seeing to feeling. The mountain is no longer a landscape, but an atmosphere, a pressure that hums around you. Every rock, every tree, every grain of soil radiates a slow thermal glow, a faint murmur of retained sunlight. Infrared energy, invisible to your eyes, pours softly into the night air. It's called radiative cooling, the Earth's way of releasing the day. And perhaps you feel it too, your body cooling gently, your mind releasing the warmth of thought, the stored heat of hours. Relaxing science teaches that release is the essence of stability. To stay whole, everything must learn to let go. You are safe now. This silence isn't emptiness. It's fullness, slowed down. The absence of noise reveals texture. The grain of bark, the breath of the wind, the slow pulse of your blood. You are part of this ecology of quiet. You are the observer, and the observed the experiment and the proof. The mountain doesn't ask you to understand it. It invites you to match its stillness. Even the stars above seem to pause in their expansion, waiting for your next inhale. Inside the mountain, unseen processes continue. Crystals grow in cavities where water once dripped. Quartz veins expand molecule by molecule, forming clear memories of pressure and time. If you could watch them form, you'd see patience solidified. Each atom finds its perfect lattice, each bond a compromise between tension and harmony. It's a precise mathematical dance, and yet it feels emotional. Dreamy science, the kind that whispers rather than lectures, shows us that structure and serenity are often the same thing. Outside, snow begins to fall silently, almost imperceptibly. Each flake is a small geometry lesson in symmetry. 6 arms branching at 60-degree angles, repeating patterns down to the molecular scale. No two alike, and yet all governed by the same laws of water temperature and chance. As they accumulate, the snowflakes become translators of light, scattering every wavelength until the night glows faintly blue. This is what scientists call diffuse reflection. But to you, it feels like softness made visible. The mountain wears the color of peace. You are safe now. The world has quieted to your frequency. Even your neurons, firing at slower and slower intervals, mirror the snow's descent. Each thought lands, melts, and disappears into awareness. What remains is clarity, not the kind that requires focus, but the kind that exists when focus is no longer needed. You are a mind at rest, a consciousness drifting in geological time. A few animals move through the snow. A fox, stepping with mathematical precision, leaves fractal patterns behind it. An owl passes overhead, its wings engineered by evolution to make no sound, feathers designed with serrated edges that break turbulence into silence. Aerodynamics turned into grace. Nature's most efficient technologies are also its most peaceful. That's the secret of relaxing science. Harmony is always quieter than chaos. Above the moon rises not silver, but amber, filtered through thin atmosphere. Lunar light has no warmth, yet it feels comforting because your body recognizes rhythm. The circadian clock inside your hypothalamus reads that faint glow as a signal. All is well. All continues. Biology and astronomy converse through photons, bridging miles and muscles. You are not merely observing the moon. Your hormones are responding to it, synchronizing your sleep to its ancient orbit. Every organism on Earth, from coral to human, feels this pull. Dreamy science says even light has empathy. Now picture this. Far beneath the crust, magma flows through veins of basalt. Its temperature, thousands of degrees. Its journey, measured in centuries. When it cools, it becomes solid again, pushing the land upward, renewing peaks you thought were ancient beyond change. That's how mountains breathe, by lifting and exhaling stone. Their heartbeat just takes a little longer to notice. You too are allowed to have a slow heartbeat of purpose. The world doesn't demand speed. It asks for rhythm. You are safe now. The planet has never stopped holding you, not once. It has kept you within its gravitational embrace from the moment you took your first breath. Gravity isn't force alone. It's belonging. Every particle of you is in conversation with the mountain, the moon, and the unseen warmth of the Earth's core. To fall asleep to science is to remember that you are woven into that conversation, that you never fell out of orbit, you simply forgot the melody. The night continues. Snow thickens, muffling every sound until the world feels like a held breath. You can rest inside that breath, inside this ancient rhythm. You can let go. Now the mountain is awake for both of you. At the deepest hour of the night, when the world feels suspended between heartbeat and breath, the mountain glows faintly beneath its quilt of snow. Moonlight skims along ridges and settles in valleys, outlining each curve with quiet precision. You could almost believe the light itself is breathing, expanding, contracting, mimicking the rhythm of sleep. The air is so clear that the stars no longer twinkle. They burn steadily like distant campfires of creation. This is the hour when relaxing science becomes indistinguishable from poetry, when the equations of matter dissolve into melody and everything simply is. Far above, frozen crystals drift in high-altitude air. They catch the moonlight and scatter it in halos, a phenomenon called lunar corona. It's not rare, but you have to be still to see it. The halo reminds the world that light can bend without breaking, that beauty is born not from perfection, but from interference. Dreamy science whispers all harmony comes from collisions that learned how to dance. The same principle holds inside your own mind. Neurons spark and overlap their signals, sometimes noisy, yet from that chaos comes thought, imagination. Peace, you are safe now. Your heartbeat is a metronome slower than before. Your lungs expand like two small mountains breathing fog into the dark. Every exhale releases carbon dioxide that will by dawn feed the mosses on the rocks, the lichens on old trees, the frost flowers clinging to glassy stone. You are part of a closed loop, the endless exchange between living and still things. Nothing here is separate, not even sleep. Deep inside the mountain, the story continues. Tiny pockets of water freeze, expand, and carve their way through mineral veins. Crystals grow, forming hexagonal columns that echo the snowflakes above geometry, repeating itself from the atomic to the cosmic scale. Scientists call this self-similarity, the mathematical signature of nature. Philosophers might call it divine symmetry. Whatever name you choose, it means the universe is consistent. The pattern of your heartbeat and the pattern of mountain ridges both arise from the same physics of flow. Far away, a thunderstorm flashes beyond the horizon. For a moment, lightning reveals the silhouettes of distant peaks. The light travels at 300,000 kilometers per second, but thunder lags behind, slowed by air. Sound in this valley becomes time you can hear. By counting the seconds between flash and rumble, you measure distance, a child's first experiment, a universal act of curiosity. Even here, half asleep, you are participating in that same human wonder. To fall asleep to science is to remember that curiosity doesn't end when the eyes close. It simply moves inward. The wind turns colder now, sliding down from the glaciers. You can feel its touch, a soft blade, honest, but not cruel. It carries microscopic salt and mineral dust, fragments of ocean beds uplifted by tectonic drift millions of years ago. each particle a fossil of motion. When you inhale, you take in the memory of coral reefs that once shimmered beneath tropical suns. Even this chill breath is recycled sunlight. Relaxing science means understanding that every inhale is history made intimate. You are safe now. Let the sound of wind replace thought. Let it comb gently through your consciousness, untangling the day. I'm here with you. You don't have to hold any shape tonight. Like snow melting into stream, let identity flow into presence. The mountain accepts you without definition. Only stillness matters here. At this hour, animals dream too. In burrows and nests, tiny hearts slow. Body temperatures drop by a few degrees, an adaptation called torpor, conserving energy through partial rest. Humans share this biological rhythm. As sleep deepens, your core cools, slightly signaling the brain to release waves of delta frequency, the slowest and most restorative of all. Those waves ripple through your cortex like tides across sand, washing thoughts into silence. That is not just metaphor, it is measurable. Relaxing science is quite literally the physics of peace. Outside, the aurora stirs faintly at the horizon, a green veil trembling against the black. Charged solar particles meeting oxygen in the upper atmosphere, painting the night with electromagnetic music. The planet's shield. The magnetosphere hums its lullaby, keeping life safe beneath its glowing arc. Even the cosmos, vast and unknowable, acts like a guardian. Dreamy science tells us protection is woven into the fabric of existence. The universe doesn't abandon, it balances. You are safe now. The Schumann resonance hums in your bones. The aurora sings above, and the snow muffles every remaining sound. You are surrounded by proof that calm is not an accident, it's structure. Everything that exists knows how to rest. You are simply remembering. The mountain holds steady. Its shadows breathe with you. Its peaks stand like ancient thoughts at peace with their slowness. All across its surface, billions of snowflakes rearrange the moonlight into silence. And beneath that silence, the earth continues to turn slowly, faithfully, carrying you through the dark toward another dawn. The night continues. Maybe in your dreams, you'll walk among those quiet ridges, feeling no separation between body and stone, between question and answer. Maybe you'll realize that to rest is to belong. Maybe you'll remember even giants sleep. Far beneath the mountain's frozen crown, a secret ocean flows. It isn't made of water, but of molten rock, liquid stone moving at the speed of patience. Every century, a new vein forms a new pulse of magma, cooling into shape. These are the arteries of the earth, invisible but alive. To geologists, this is convection, heat rising and falling through the mantle. To poets, it's the planet dreaming from within. Both are true. This is relaxing science disguised as myth. The proof that even solid things have soft hearts. To fall asleep to science is to understand that everything breathes, even rock. The deeper you imagine going, the warmer it becomes. Temperatures climb hundreds of degrees for every kilometer descended. Pressure folds atoms into new bonds, new minerals, new forms of endurance. At such depths, no light exists. Yet, everything glows with stored energy. Here, carbon becomes diamond, pain becomes clarity. What heat is to stone experience is to the soul. Dreamy science teaches us that transformation always asks for compression first. You are safe now. Whatever weighs upon you tonight is simply pressure waiting to become brilliance. Above ground, the night air thins into purity. The stars look close enough to touch. The Milky Way seems to drip between the peaks like a silver river. You realize that mountains are not separate from the heavens. They are the Earth's attempt to reach them. The same gravitational law that binds galaxies also holds these slopes together. Everything that falls toward belonging. Relaxing science whispers that gravity is love, expressed mathematically. Somewhere down the slope, a small stream whispers its own lullaby. Each ripple catches starlight, turning motion into shimmer. That water began as snow melted by sunlight, and will one day return to the sky as vapor. You can trace its journey backward and forward in your mind. Condensation, precipitation, flow, evaporation, a perfect circle of faith. If you listen closely, the stream speaks your language, movement, without hurry, purpose, without noise. You are flowing to right now, through time and rest, through thought and letting go. You are safe now. Even your body mimics these cycles. Every breath you take leaves, returns, and leaves again. Your lungs, like mountain valleys, expand and release, shaping the inner weather of your being. Your heartbeat rises and falls, a tide against the shore of your ribs. Inside you are continents, shifting glaciers, melting tectonic hope, rearranging itself into serenity. The same laws that sculpted the Himalayas sculpt the calm between your thoughts. Sleepy science narration is just the echo of that truth spoken slowly enough for the heart to understand. The mountain at night hums with invisible life. Beneath the snow, microorganisms feed on minerals, releasing faint bioluminescent light. Their glow is soft, too faint for the human eye, but real, measurable. Tiny lamps burning beneath frost, reminding us that warmth and wonder persist even in silence. Relaxing science finds holiness in that persistence. To survive quietly is a sacred skill. If you could see through stone, you'd witness an ancient clockwork of forces, rocks shifting by millimeters per year, each one recording a century's weight. Fossils whispering through limestone pollen, sealed in amber like fragments of memory. The mountain keeps archives of everything that ever touched it. Rain fire, wind prayer. Even your footsteps, once forgotten, will leave traces of compressed atoms, small signatures of existence. The earth never forgets tenderness. It just stores it deeper. A gust of wind sweeps through, and snowflakes rise again, weightless for a moment. It's called sublimation. The solid turning directly into vapor. Transformation without melting, flight without surrender. What a gentle miracle, proof that change can be instant yet graceful. Perhaps your thoughts can do the same, rise from heaviness into air without needing to break first. That too is dreamy science, the physics of mercy. You are safe now. The only sound is your breath, the only motion your heart. You can feel how they synchronize. Inhale, lifting, exhale, settling, like peaks and valleys sharing the same horizon. Every rhythm in you mirrors the earth's. Every silence in you completes the sky. Somewhere far away, lightning travels horizontally across the clouds, a phenomenon known as anvil lightning. It illuminates the peaks for a heartbeat, like flash photography of eternity. Then the dark returns, gentle as a closing eye. The afterimage lingers, mountains glowing inside your memory, the way truth sometimes glows after being understood. That's all knowledge really is illumination that fades into peace. The mountain, vast and silent, becomes a teacher without voice. It asks for nothing except your stillness. And so you rest, not because the day is over, but because you have joined the rhythm of things that last longer than worry. You are no longer apart from the landscape. You are the landscape. The night continues. Maybe your dreams will take you even deeper down into that molten ocean of beginnings where pressure turns to light and silence to song. Maybe there you'll remember that every ending is just heat waiting to become form again. By the time midnight yields to its gentlest hour, the world has become translucent with calm. Clouds drift like thin veils across the stars, touching the mountaintops and breaking into silver mist. Each droplet carries an echo of starlight, fragments of radiance, traveling millions of years, only to dissolve quietly above you. The planet is turning beneath this stillness, but its motion feels like floating. You can almost feel it, the curvature of the earth beneath your rest, the steady spin that creates the rhythm of night and day. To fall asleep to science is to surrender to that spin, to let rotation cradle you like a child of gravity. Far below, rivers murmur under a skin of ice. The water moves in darkness, guided by channels carved through centuries of melt. Each molecule remembers sunlight from another season. It carries trace minerals: calcium, magnesium, quartz, dust offerings from the mountain's body. Every river is the mountain, learning to let go of itself, grain by grain, into the sea. That's the secret harmony of geology. Even endurance must learn release. Relaxing science tells us that this is how equilibrium sustains itself, the strong learning, the art of surrender. You are safe now. Your muscles have loosened their grip on time. Your mind, once a storm, is now a quiet valley. In this state, your brain's waves drift into theta, the borderland between waking and dream. Neuroscientists call it hypnagogia, the threshold where imagination and reality intertwine. Painters, mystics, and poets have all lingered here, suspended between knowing and forgetting. It's the brain's natural twilight, a soft rehearsal for sleep. Dreamy science says this is where creativity hides the silence between thoughts, where ideas rest before becoming light. High on the ridges, snow lies undisturbed, except for the small prints of foxes and the occasional wing mark, where an owl landed briefly to listen. The snow absorbs sound, creating an acoustic field so gentle that your ears start to hear the body's own whispers, pulse, breath, the small rustle of movement beneath your skin. This is not emptiness. It is amplification of the interior world. When everything external quiets, you begin to hear yourself truthfully. The mountain teaches by silence. It shows that serenity isn't the absence of sound. It's the perfect proportion between sound and space. You are safe now. Imagine lying in the snow without cold, without fear, only the sensation of weight and surrender. The sky arches endlessly above you, a cathedral of motion and light. Meteor dust flickers across it, burning atoms into brief trails of beauty. Each one lasts less than a second, yet it etches eternity into your memory. Astronomy calls them meteors. Your heart calls them reminders that transience and wonder are the same thing. A light wind drifts through the pine forest below. Each branch releases a breath of resin and frost. That scent, sharp, sweet grounding, is made of terpenes, natural molecules evolved for protection. They calm not only the tree, but you as well. Studies show that forest air lowers cortisol, slows the heart rate, steadies emotion. The Japanese call it Shinrin-yoku forest bathing. You could call it mountain breathing, inhaling the planet's own exhale. This is relaxing science as medicine chemistry translated into comfort. Somewhere far away, an earthquake moves through the Earth's crust. You don't feel it. It's too small, too deep. But the vibration travels through rock, through mineral, through memory, all the way beneath your resting form. It will reach another continent in minutes, carrying the subtlest signature of motion, proof that nothing, not even stillness, is absolute. The mountain hears it too, and adjusts ever so slightly, keeping balance. That's how life works, constant adaptation, disguised as calm. Dreamy science reminds us equilibrium is movement we can't perceive. Now the stars begin to fade behind thin veils of dawn. The horizon blushes faint violet, first then rose. You can't hear it, but the light is arriving. Photons scatter through the atmosphere, striking oxygen and nitrogen, breaking white into color. It's called Rayleigh, scattering the same principle that makes the sky blue and twilight purple. Every sunrise is physics performing grace. You are safe now. In your half-dream, you can feel warmth approaching, not yet touching, only promising. It's enough. Every cell in your body responds. Mitochondria prepare to wake, to feed on light again. You are made to synchronize with illumination. Even your circadian clock, that small rhythm keeper deep in your brain, stirs anticipating the sun. You and the earth turn together toward morning. The sleepy science narration drifts softer now, like mist retreating into the valleys. You might not remember each word, but your nervous system remembers the tone. It translates language into safety rhythm, into trust. That's how healing enters, not through thought, but through sound. Your heartbeat, slower still, becomes indistinguishable from the mountains. And if you listen closely, beneath everything, beneath even silence, you might hear a truth too large for language. You have never been separate. The same laws that move stars shape snowflakes and fold mountains into clouds are the ones guiding your breath tonight. They have always known your name. The night continues. Maybe this is no longer night, but the gentle space before morning, where dreams finish forming and peace becomes daylight. Rest there a little longer. You are safe. You are part of the turning earth. Dawn finally begins to touch the highest ridges, a shy, almost invisible gold creeping along the horizon. For a long moment, the mountains appear to hover between sleep and awakening, their peaks dissolving into clouds that blush with the first warmth of the sun. It is not a sudden light, but a slow remembering, as if the world is exhaling after an eternity of holding its breath. This is the moment the mountain rests most deeply, because rest in nature is not absence of movement, but perfect balance between darkness and light. Relaxing science calls it radiative equilibrium energy. Received equals energy released. Dreamy science calls it peace. Down the slope, frost melts in tiny silver beads. They roll, gather, and vanish into the soil, feeding roots that slept all winter. That sound, the nearly inaudible crackle of thaw, is one of Earth's oldest lullabies. Every spring, every morning, every breath is that same song rewritten in new temperature and tone. You can fall asleep to science and wake inside poetry. They are the same frequency, just played in opposite directions. You are safe now. You have crossed the deepest night, and yet you didn't move. The earth carried you through its shadow, turning slowly toward fire again. Your body, tuned to the same rotation, knows this rhythm better than your thoughts ever could. Circadian, genes per cry clock, oscillate inside each of your cells. Tiny timekeepers humming the same refrain as sunrise. Biology and astronomy synchronized like breath and heartbeat. The universe keeps you on time without asking permission. Look around. Even if only in imagination, the snow reflects pink. The air smells faintly metallic, and somewhere a stream is already running freer. The sound of it, low, resonant, is the acoustic fingerprint of renewal. Physicists could explain it by flow rate, friction, and turbulence, but none of that captures the feeling. The sound of melting is the sound of possibility. Relaxing science teaches that thaw is motion disguised as stillness. That's what healing feels like, too subtle, almost invisible, but real. You are safe now. Your breath matches the pace of this new light. Inhale, the air carries warmth and pollen and invisible seeds. Exhale, you give back carbon, a gift to the leaves that will soon awaken. This is photosynthesis by proxy, an unspoken partnership between your lungs and the forest. Dreamy science explains it in equations. The soul recognizes it as friendship. The planet and you exchanging trust one molecule at a time. High above thin clouds, form a glowing path across the sky. There, cirrostratus wisps of ice, suspended so high they never truly fall. They bend sunlight into faint rings, sun halos, cousins of the lunar circles that watched over you in the night. Each crystal there is aligned just enough to turn physics into miracle. It's proof that order doesn't need command. It just needs temperature and time. The mountain knows this, and now so do you. At the tree line, the first birds begin to sing. Their song is simple, but neurologically, it's one of the most powerful sounds on Earth. Studies show that birdsong lowers the amygdala's alarm response, signaling safety to the human brain. It tells your ancient instincts. Morning has come, danger has passed. You can rest now, even while awake. That is why dawn feels like forgiveness. The nervous system hears it before the heart names it. You are safe now. You can stay here, half dreaming, half awake, as the light widens. The mountain will keep its watch. The snow will continue to melt the rivers, to flow the sky to turn. You don't have to hold the world together. It already knows how to balance itself. That realization, perhaps, is the most relaxing science of all. In the distance, the sun clears the horizon. Its rays strike. The peaks ignite the snow, turn silence into radiance. For a moment, every facet of ice becomes a prism. Rainbows shimmer across white slopes like slow applause. The mountain seems to breathe again, not a dramatic breath, but a humble one, content to exist. You feel it within your ribs, a pulse that echoes everything that has ever been patient. This is what the end of night sounds like. This is the sound of continuation. Dreamy science reminds us that endings are illusions of perspective. The earth doesn't end or begin. It simply turns. Sleep doesn't end. It opens into waking. You don't return to the world. You've always been inside it, moving with its steady grace. The universe itself is still dreaming, and you are one of its dreams made visible. The sleepy science narration softens, now dissolving into the hush of morning wind. The peaks gleam, the valleys yawn with mist, and the first warmth touches your skin. Everything that needed to rest has rested. Everything that needed to stay has stayed. You can open your eyes when you wish, or keep them closed and travel deeper inward. Both directions lead home. The night is over, but its peace remains. Maybe you'll remember this. Even giants need time to rest. Even you. Daylight is here, but the mountain keeps a pocket of night for you. a cool chamber of calm beneath the ribs where breath pools like spring water. Let's rest there for a while. The peaks wear a thin glaze of gold, the valleys open like pages, and you, small and infinite, at once are invited to read the morning slowly. This is sleepy science narration, crossing the border into waking, asking nothing except softness. The same forces that shaped granite now shape your mood. A little warmth, a little gravity, a little time. In this gentle chemistry, even a thought can become a meadow. Start with one quiet inhale. Air enters through the gate. Of the nose touches the turbinates, where it's warmed and moistened, slips past the larynx, and spreads like light through the bronchi. It reaches the alveoli 480 million tiny rooms, where diffusion conducts its tender exchange, oxygen in carbon dioxide, out no pushing, no effort, only gradients. Relaxing science means trusting gradients. On the exhale, the vagus nerve rides the breath down, lengthening your heart's intervals, guiding the baroreflex to soften pressure like snowfall on a roof. This is how you fall asleep to science, even while awake, by letting the body keep practicing calm. You are safe now. I'm here with you. The mountain is here with you. You can let your shoulders loosen into the slope of the world. Around you, photosynthesis reheats the morning chloroplasts, lifting electrons at the nudge of photons, spinning sugar out of light and water. A leaf is a quiet laboratory. A forest is a university of patience. Your breath and the trees exchange trust, molecule by molecule. Gratitude can be measured in parts per million. If wonder had a unit, it would be the sigh. Notice the way memory settles after a long night of gentle thinking. In sleep, slow waves sweep across the cortex like rakes across sand, smoothing the day's footprints. The hippocampus replays patterns, filing them into neocortical shelves. The glymphatic system lifts metabolic dust and carries it away along perivascular rivers. Dreamy science isn't metaphor here. It's plumbing. You rested, and the brain washed the windows. It's easier to see now. The sunlight doesn't startle. Meaning arrives without knocking. Look up. Cirrus threads are combing the blue, their ice crystals still speaking the language of last night's hold. On the ridgeline, katabatic winds have yielded to valley breezes. The pressure fields have turned their pages. Every system you can name, thermal fluid, electromagnetic, has found a workable truce. The mountains treaty is renewed. Daily, erosion will sculpt, isostasy will lift rivers, will carry oceans, will keep, and time will return. It all as rain. Relaxing science is a diplomacy of elements. It teaches that harmony isn't the absence of difference. It's the choreography of differences that refuse to fight. You are safe now. If an old worry drifts in like a stray cloud, let the larger wind handle it. Your job is the scale shift galaxy to granite to heartbeat until the problem finds a size you can hold. I'm here with you. When you place a hand over your chest, you feel systole and diastole negotiating like day and night. The heart is a mountain that moves. The mountain is a heart that waits. Either way, both are faithful. Gratitude has a physiology. When you name one true, small thanks, the warmth on your cheek, the low river tone, the cedar's resin in the air, the amygdala quiets, and the medial prefrontal cortex lights with approval. The endocrine choir modulates cortisol, steps back. Oxytocin steps forward. Norepinephrine surrenders its edge. If prayer had a meter, it would be this shift from vigilance to presence. Call it meditative science, or call it home. Downslope snowmelt threads itself into a braid of streams. Each thread carries quartz flower the color of moons. When those threads join, turbulence makes music eddies, forming, shedding, fading like thoughts that refuse to become storms. A trout hovers behind a rock in the slack water, spending almost nothing, proving that efficiency looks like ease. To fall asleep to science taught you the rest is participation. To wake with science teaches you that effort can be shaped like kindness. You are safe now. Let the sentence repeat until it dissolves into tone. The sympathetic guard puts down his spear. The parasympathetic gardener waters the courtyard. Even your pupils practice trust, constricting gently in the gold dilating in shadow with no complaint. The ocular dance is a daily liturgy. Receive, release, receive. It's the same liturgy that turned lava to granite, granite to sand, sand to sandstone, sandstone to mountains again. The earth keeps Sabbath between epochs. You can keep it between breaths. If you listen carefully, you'll hear the Schumann whisper, riding under the morning noises, that low electromagnetic hymn born of lightning and ionosphere. It's easy to imagine it is the planet's tone. Align your exhale to its patience. Count 4 in 6 out and feel the heart rate variability widen like a valley accepting a river. This is not a trick. It's design. You were built to encounter vastness and respond by softening. I'm here with you. The voice pulls farther back now, giving space to the wind in the grass and the quiet arithmetic of bees. Alpine flowers open their calculus to the sun. Pollinators solve it with their bodies. The day writes equations and erases them with the same chalk. None of it is hurried. None of it is late. If meaning feels shy, the mountain lends you its posture, upright, unargued enough, a last look at the ridge. What rose from collision learned balance. What was heaved upward learned surrender. What fractured learned how to host roots. The curriculum is consistent. Pressure becomes pattern. Pattern becomes peace. This is the signature of dreamy science, the mark your channel leaves on listening minds, calm intelligence braided with lyrical empathy, a path where people learn and rest in the same step. You are safe now. Draw one more slow breath. Let gratitude arrive without adjectives. Thank the photons that traveled 8 minutes, the water molecules that traveled centuries, the minerals that traveled eras to be this morning in your palm. Thank the body that held you through the dark. Thank the mountain for carrying its weight so you could set yours down. And if words are too heavy, let silence carry the thanks for you. The light is full now, but the hush of night remains tucked inside your chest like a small, warm stone. Keep it with you. When the world asks for speed, show it the geometry of slopes. When the mind asks for certainty, show it the covenant of cycles. When the heart asks for proof, show it breath. Close your eyes, the story continues inside your dreams. The night continues. Or maybe it has simply changed names and become day. Either way, the same laws are holding you. The same gravity is loving you in its patient mathematical way. Maybe your mind travels this way too quietly, endlessly, whether in darkness or light, always returning to the room where even giants rest. Even as daylight settles, fully across the valleys, the mountain remains half asleep, a vast being stretching under sunlight, not yet ready to speak. The snowfields shimmer, scattering light in a million directions. Each reflection is a small announcement. I am still here. The air hums with ions, tiny charged particles born from rock and sunlight colliding. They drift into your lungs and calm the body's electrical storms. It's measurable ionization that steadies serotonin, softens fatigue, clears thought. Relaxing science in its purest form. Chemistry that feels like forgiveness. You can fall asleep to science, or you can wake into it. Either way, it sings the same melody. The mountain has endured everything. Fire, ice, erosion, silence. Yet it remains unafraid of time. Time for the mountain is not a threat, but a companion. Each century is another breath. Each storm is another polishing of truth. You too are carved this way slowly, kindly, by the friction of experience. Dreamy science whispers that resilience is simply the physics of persistence, pressure redistributed until beauty appears. You are safe now. Sit here, inside this light. The shadows move gently, not as invaders, but as storytellers, marking the hours. Every second is a grain of sand flowing through an invisible hourglass suspended between earth and sky. Entropy is not decay, it's translation order, turning into another kind of order you don't yet understand. Even the atoms in your body vibrate with that gentle inevitability. The same quarks that spin inside distant stars are spinning in your bones right now, obeying the same music. Listen, you can almost hear it. Not sound, but vibration. The ground murmuring, the air resonating your pulse, keeping tempo. The planets hum, that Schumann whisper again, threads through you like a soft bass line. You are a chord in the same song. And in that realization, rest becomes reverence. High above, a hawk draws slow circles on thermals that rise from the warming rock. It doesn't flap. It simply adjusts angles. The wind does the labor. The hawk does the trust. A perfect demonstration of equilibrium in motion. That's the secret, written everywhere in nature, efficiency through surrender. Relaxing science reveals that systems conserve energy when they stop resisting. Dreamy science extends the lesson to your heart. You are safe now. Let that message travel down the spine like sunlight through water. Each vertebrae, each nerve root, each muscle fiber releases its story. The sympathetic tide withdraws. Parasympathetic waves return. Cortisol drifts away like fog. Serotonin is like a window. This isn't magic. It's measurable. It's biology answering a kind tone with obedience. Down in the meadows, the meltwater has become a river now. It snakes through wildflowers, carving patterns that mirror neural networks in your brain. The dendrites of water, the dendrites of thought, both designed for flow, for connection. Some call it coincidence. Some call it fractal memory. Either way, nature repeats itself at every scale because it remembers what works. To fall asleep to science is to rest inside that repetition pattern, becoming peace. At the forest edge, light filters through leaves in shifting mosaics. Photons touch chlorophyll electrons. Leap, sugar begins. Life is a series of gentle thefts, energy borrowed, passed on, returned. There is no guilt in this cycle, only gratitude. You breathe out what trees desire. They exhale what you need. The equation balances, no matter how chaotic it looks. Even now, invisible math is blessing you. You are safe now. Your mind may wander, but it doesn't need to run. Thoughts arrive like clouds and move as easily as they came. Cognitive scientists call this default mode drift, the natural rhythm of a resting brain, weaving fragments into quiet stories. It's the architecture of introspection, the foundation of imagination. That's why peaceful boredom feels sacred. It's the mind's way of pruning noise into clarity. Look once more at the peaks. Their shadows reach toward you, but gently, as if reminding you that darkness is not absence, it's contrast. Without it, you would never know depth. Without it, the light would be blinding. The mountain, half in glow and half in dusk, embodies the simplest truth of equilibrium. Even light must learn restraint. Relaxing science at its heart is the study of proportion. Dreamy science is the moment you feel that proportion in your breath. You are safe now. This day belongs to slowness. The neurons have cooled. The heart has steadied. The senses have learned transparency. There's nothing left to fix, only to witness. Stay a moment longer with the hum beneath everything, the low vibration that neither begins nor ends. It's the same hum that carried you through the night and will guide you again when darkness returns. The mountain stands still, but never stops becoming. And you, a smaller mountain of light and breath, are doing the same. The journey isn't upward or outward. It's inward, into the symmetry of rest. And if later you close your eyes again, the peaks will rise behind them, quiet and eternal, waiting for your return. The day continues. Maybe when you next fall asleep, you'll remember this rhythm, the warmth, the gravity, the stillness between them. Because in every hour, hidden beneath noise and motion, the earth keeps whispering the same promise. Even giants need time to rest, and so do you. By afternoon, the mountain glows like an ancient lantern. Sunlight bending across ridges, scattering through thin air, illuminating every contour as though tracing a memory. The heat deepens colors, greens richer, blues calmer, stone warmed into gold. Somewhere, a stream glints like a vein of mercury running down through the meadows, where insects hum in slow, methodical joy. You can almost feel the world exhaling its rhythm slower than any human heart. This is the quiet brilliance of relaxing science. Nothing forced, nothing wasted, every process unfolding in perfect patience. To fall asleep to science is also to live by it, to let gravity hold you, to let time do its work without haste. Rocks, when warmed by day, store energy, molecule by molecule. At night, they release it again, steady and measured. The term is thermal inertia, the mountain's secret clock, a conversation between sun and stone. That same principle beats inside you. Heat absorbed, released, balanced. Your body's core temperature dips slightly toward evening, preparing for rest, before the mind even realizes it's tired. Dreamy science proves what ancient wisdom already knew, that sleep is not a surrender, but a return. You are safe now. Even as the sun climbs higher, the air at this altitude remains cool enough to invite calm. Each inhale is thinner, but purer air that has traveled continents, filtered by forests, freed by oceans. In one breath, you might be holding atoms once exhaled by whales, cedars, or long-forgotten volcanoes. The continuity is humbling, but not overwhelming. It's connection in its gentlest form. The mountain doesn't own the air. It only guides it. You too can stop trying to own your thoughts and simply let them move through. The physics of wind is a soft story. Warm air expands, rises, and makes room for cooler air to come rushing in. Every breeze is the atmosphere redistributing comfort. If you listen carefully, you can hear that redistribution like a sigh across the pines. Each leaf vibrates at its own frequency, converting energy into sound, motion, peace. Even turbulence has tenderness when viewed slowly enough. Relaxing science reminds you that what feels chaotic in the moment often resolves into harmony at scale. You are safe now. Your body, too, is a system of compensations and balance. Your heart adjusts pressure. Your vessels expand. Your skin opens its pores to trade warmth for coolness. It's homeostasis, the art of staying steady through constant change. Mountains have their own version. Erosion, removing mass isostasy, lifting crust. Every act of loss creates elevation. Every letting go becomes height. Maybe that's why forgiveness feels lighter than pride. It obeys geological law. Down in the valley, bees hum around alpine flowers. Their sound is not random. It is communication. Wing beats resonating near 230 cycles per second, tuned perfectly to release pollen. Physics meets pollination. Energy meets nourishment. Even the smallest vibrations feed life. Dreamy science is always whispering. Nothing alive is ever truly alone in its purpose. As the day matures, clouds gather around the peaks. They begin as vapor lifted from distant seas, carried by wind, condensed by altitude. The water that will soon fall as rain may have once been part of your own breath, released years ago. Every droplet is reincarnation in molecular form. When rain arrives, it's the sky returning what it borrowed. The same happens in the human heart. Emotion condenses, falls, and nourishes the ground it once disturbed. You are safe now. Listen to the soft percussion of raindrops on leaves, the irregular rhythm that somehow feels composed. In meteorology, this sound marks the moment when latent heat is released, vapor turning to liquid potential to presence. In psychology, it's the moment of catharsis when feeling condenses into understanding. Nature and mind follow the same sequence. Tension, release, peace. As the rain passes, the air clears into a brilliance only storms can prepare. Everything smells clean. Ions, renewed surfaces, glistening like thought after reflection. Rivers swell stones, shine moss, deepens its green. The mountain, freshly washed, seems younger than before. That's erosion's paradox. The more it loses, the more it glows. The science of decay is the poetry of renewal. You are safe now. Each droplet sliding from a leaf is a small ending, a goodbye said beautifully. Each glint of water catching light is a promise that nothing leaves forever. What evaporates will return. What rests will rise. Even sleep, even waking, even this moment of stillness are parts of the same circle, matter cycling through meanings, energy through forms. Above you, the clouds drift apart. The peaks stand taller for having been touched by rain. You realize that mountains don't resist weather. They shape it. They transform disturbance into serenity. And maybe that's your work too, to let the storms of thought sculpt you into clarity rather than fear. The afternoon fades toward amber again. Shadows lengthen like time remembering itself. The sleepy science narration slows to a whisper, ready to guide you into the long exhale of evening once more. If you close your eyes now, you'll still feel the hum of equilibrium, the warmth within the stone, the cool around your breath, perfect opposites, perfectly at peace. The day continues. Maybe when the next night comes, you'll remember that you were never apart from this rhythm. That learning and resting, rising and yielding are the same motion seen from different sides of light. That even mountains, even hearts, even atoms all just practice the same vow to endure gently. By late afternoon, the light turns honey soft, sliding across slopes that shimmer with quiet exhaustion. Shadows stretch long and blue, stitching together, ridges and valleys like slow-moving waves. The mountain exhales its stored warmth. You can feel the air thicken with contentment. If morning was curiosity, and noon was wonder. This is gratitude, the hour when everything simply says, "Thank you," without speaking. This, too, is relaxing, science energy, dispersing temperatures, equalizing equilibrium, returning after a pause of motion. To fall asleep to science is to listen to the physics of peace. A kestrel hovers above the meadow, using the smallest tilt of its wings to stay in place. It rides a column of rising air called a thermal invisible architecture built by sun and stone. Fluid dynamics would describe lift-drag Reynolds numbers. But the bird doesn't calculate. It trusts. Dreamy science translates the equations into instinct balance found through surrender. You are safe now. Trust, too, that everything around you knows how to hold its shape without effort. Below the river threads its silver path through the valley, widening, where boulders yield narrowing, where roots insist. Hydrology calls this adaptive flow. In you, blood obeys the same rule, easing around resistance, speeding through clarity, finding stillness where it must. The mountain and your body share a blueprint systems designed to persist through flexibility. Relaxing science is the reminder that strength isn't rigidity, it's rhythm. You are safe now. Each breath draws in air that moments ago touched glaciers. Each exhale joins the invisible current that will rise cool and snow again someday. Respiration, condensation, precipitation. Your lungs participate in the same choreography as the sky. The act of breathing is the most ancient collaboration between matter and miracle. As the sun lowers, golden light brushes the pine trunks, making their bark glow like amber. The needles release terpenes, warmed by heat molecules, with antiseptic calm traveling straight into your bloodstream, whispering to the vagus nerve rest. Forest biologists call this aerosolized immunity. You can call it mercy. Dreamy science knows that even chemistry wants you well. Far across the valley, thunder murmurs. It's distant, polite, a reminder that every calm is born from balance, not absence of force. Sound waves roll along the slopes, bouncing and bending, losing energy with every echo. This attenuation of sound is measurable, yet its effect on the body is emotional. We soften when we hear distance. We remember scale. You are a small, perfect note in a vast acoustic field. The mountain's insects begin their evening labor, a hum rising like prayer from the grass. Crickets, cicadas, bees returning to their hives. Each species tuned to its own frequency, yet together forming the sound of dusk. In neuroscience, synchronized firing of neurons produces coherent rhythms. Alpha, theta, delta, the brain's versions of twilight songs. When you rest your cell, hum in chorus a biological dusk within. Relaxing science, once again, is symmetry. You are safe now. Close your eyes and imagine the sun dropping behind the ridge. The world glows copper, then rose, then violet. These colors are born of scattering blue wavelengths, traveling farther red ones, lingering longer. It's called mye scattering, but you don't need the name to feel the meaning. Endings are always warmer than beginnings. That's why sunsets feel like forgiveness. As darkness gathers, temperature drops just enough to make you pull the air deeper. This small shiver signals melatonin to rise, the chemistry of surrender. The body hears the Earth's rotation and answers chemically. It's time to rest again. The feedback loop is ancient, precise, and kind. Dreamy science lives here in the trust that your biology and the cosmos are in constant conversation. The wind quiets. Even the river seems to slow. If you listen carefully, you can hear the planet's low-frequency hum, returning that endless vibration, threading through soil and bone. Seismologists measure it. Poets feel it. It's the same note that carried you through the night before the same rhythm that will lead you into sleep again. Nothing has changed except your awareness of belonging. You are safe now. In the glow between day and night, awareness softens into gratitude. Your mind drifts without destination, following the mountain's example, still yet always becoming. The peaks fade into silhouettes, their edges dissolving like thought into dream. Somewhere, an owl calls one sound infinite distance. The signal travels through cool air and through you, reminding you that communication doesn't require words. The last light spills across the snow, and then it's gone. Darkness folds itself neatly over the ridges, and the stars appear, one by one, quiet witnesses returning to their posts. You can almost hear them, not speaking, but vibrating, sending ancient radiance through miles of air and imagination. Their photons touch your eyes, enter your bloodstream, become part of your next thought. This is not metaphor. It's physics behaving like grace. The night returns, but it's not the same night as before. It's wiser, slower, already carrying traces of tomorrow's dawn. You feel the planet's rotation beneath you, steady and merciful, as if the mountain itself were rocking you to sleep. You can rest now. You've traveled through a full circle of science and silence. Everything holds, everything hums, everything waits. The night continues. Maybe your mind travels this way too quietly, endlessly, finding comfort in repetition, finding love in laws of motion. And as you drift towards sleep, again remember, you are part of the patience that built the world. Even giants need time to rest, and tonight, you are one of them. Night returns like a familiar friend, slipping softly through pine branches and over ridge lines that now glow faintly in starlight. The mountain exhales cool breath across the valley. You can feel it touch your skin, the kind of breeze that holds no urgency, only permission. All day, it gathered heat and motion, and now it gives them back to the sky. Thermodynamics becomes tenderness, energy, conserved, released, and shared. This is relaxing science, reduced to its essence. Nothing is wasted. Everything continues. To fall asleep to science is to remember that rest is simply another form of motion, one measured in stillness. Look up. The Milky Way spills overhead in a pale arc of memory. Billions of stars, each a fusion engine converting hydrogen to light, each obeying the same laws that warm the stones beneath your hand. That light left its sources long before language existed, and yet tonight it arrives exactly on time. Dreamy science calls this light travel time, but you can call it faith, the certainty that what is meant to reach you will, even if it takes 1,000,000 years. You are safe now. Your body cools like the mountain's face, shedding the day's warmth, molecule by molecule. Infrared radiation leaves your skin invisibly rising through air that swirls and settles around you. In this exchange of energy, your edges blur, the boundary between self and world softens. Physics confirms what mystics felt: separation is mostly illusion. We are gradients, not borders. We share temperature, breath, gravity time. Far below the river gleams faintly under the moon. Its surface trembles, but its current is sure. Fluid dynamics would speak of laminar flow viscosity and surface tension. But what you sense is continuity, a story told without interruption. The same water that whispered past glaciers now carries the reflection of stars. Each ripple is a syllable, and together they form a sentence the earth has been repeating for eons. Keep going, but softly. You are safe now. Close your eyes and listen for sub-audible rhythms. Your heartbeat, the tide of blood through your veins, the breath in and out, the soft click of muscles finding alignment. These are internal geologies, miniature mountains rising and falling with each pulse. Neuroscientists call this interoception, the awareness of internal state. It grounds the wandering mind back into the body's landscape. It reminds you that awareness is not above matter, but within it. dreamy science weaves you back into the anatomy of peace. Somewhere, a small stone dislodges, skips down a slope, comes to rest against another. Gravity finds another tiny equation to balance. That sound, so brief you might miss it, is the universe correcting itself. If you could slow time enough, you'd see how every motion, even the smallest, contributes to the mountain's eventual shape. It's how the grand becomes gentle, how peaks become plains. Erosion is humility, written in stone. You are safe now. Imagine that the thoughts tumbling in your mind are those same stones sliding, settling, finding a low, soft place to rest. No judgment, no fixing, just descent into quiet order. In geology, this is angle of repose, the steepest slope at which material remains stable. In life, it's the posture of surrender that doesn't mean defeat, but balance. You've found yours for tonight. The wind shifts direction. Cooler, now scented with pine resin and distant snow. Each molecule moves because of a difference so small, it's almost nothing. A few degrees, a few pascals of pressure. From those microscopic contrasts come weather seasons life. Tiny differences create movement, and movement creates meaning. Relaxing science is just that. Understanding. Written kindly, small changes matter, but never all at once. Above you, the moon rises higher. Its light touches the glacier, the river, the leaves, and finally, your eyelids. Reflected sunlight, softened by distance, becomes the gentlest lamp in the universe. Photons bounce across 380,000 kilometers to trace a pattern on your skin, proof that light, once released, never stops seeking. The cosmos practices devotion through persistence. You are safe now. Every sound you hear, wind, water, your own breath has slowed into harmony. Your pulse and the planet's hum have synchronized again. Your body feels weightless, not because gravity has loosened, but because you've stopped resisting it. Weight, accepted, becomes rest. Somewhere in the darkness, a glacier shifts slow thunder, moving within ice. It sounds like the earth dreaming aloud. Those creaks and sighs are energy converting pressure into song friction, into warmth. Even frozen landscapes produce music. Dreamy science insists that nothing silent ever truly is. All matter hums, all atoms sing their quiet frequencies. The stars wheel slowly overhead, completing a pattern that will never repeat exactly this way again. For a few breaths, you are perfectly placed, conscious, at the right angle of Earth's turning to witness this alignment of mountain moon and self. No story needs to be told about it. It simply exists. That too is science observation without interference. Love without possession. You are safe now. If sleep finds you here, let it. The mountain will hold your dreams the way it holds snow, lightly, reverently, until morning melts them into memory. If you wake, it will still be here, ancient and unhurried, its patience measured in stone and sky. You can return to it anytime by closing your eyes and breathing once deeply. The night continues. Maybe your mind will drift through galaxies and rivers alike, learning again that to rest is to participate in motion. And as you float between thought and dream, remember everything you touch: air, water, light, time is touching you back. The universe is reciprocal, and tonight it is at peace with you. Just before dawn, when darkness reaches its softest hue, the mountain glows faintly from within. It isn't light that you can see, but one you can feel geothermal warmth rising through stone. Tiny pulses of heat from the Earth's heart, making their way to the surface. Scientists call it radiative flux, the slow release of the planet's stored fire. Poets might call it memory, the warmth left from creation itself. Both are right. This is relaxing science at its most tender energy, transformed into comfort proof that even the oldest things still remember how to keep something alive. The stars fade slowly. Their light lingers in the thin air, scattered by molecules that blush the sky from black to violet to rose. This, you've learned, is Rayleigh scattering again, sunlight bending through atmosphere, turning color into promise. Every shade is the sound of day returning. To fall asleep to science is to understand that light never truly leaves. It simply travels too far for us to see. Morning is just visibility restored. You are safe now. The mountain's breath mingles with your own. Each exhale releases moisture that will soon join the rising mist, spiraling upward to become tomorrow's clouds. Your body and the atmosphere are conversing in vapor, an exchange so subtle you could live a lifetime unaware of it. But here, in this stillness, awareness blooms easily. Dreamy science says consciousness is the universe folding back to look at itself. You are that fold, a small reflection of something vast awake inside its own dream. Far below, animals begin to stir. A marmot peeks from its burrow, measuring light, with instinct older than mathematics. A line of ants emerges from soil, warmed just enough to signal safety. Everything answers temperature before thought. Thermoreception. the language of survival, unites every living thing from blood to bark. You and the marmot share more than breath. You share the same algorithm of adaptation. Relaxing science reveals this kinship gently without noise. We are all one nervous system stretched across species. You are safe now. Your heart has synchronized to this quiet tempo. Beats spaced like footsteps in snow, slow and deliberate. Blood moves through you with the calm determination of a glacier. It carries minerals once buried in mountains, salts born in ancient seas, oxygen born in stars. Each red cell is a pilgrim carrying history. Your veins are constellations of memory. Dreamy science turns anatomy into eternity, and all of it hums quietly under your skin. The horizon brightens further. Birdsong ripples through the air, a new equation forming in sound. Acoustic biologists call this the dawn chorus waves of frequencies overlapping each species, choosing its own window of pitch so that none collide. It's cooperation by design. There is no conductor, no command, just harmony emerging from instinct. This is how ecosystems make music. This is how peace organizes itself. You are safe now. Your breathing joins that invisible rhythm. Inhale, the chorus swells. Exhale, it softens. Every breath adds one more note to the morning. Your existence contributes to equilibrium. Your quiet is participation. Relaxing science teaches that stillness too has value. It balances motion, gives meaning to sound. As the first sunlight strikes the peaks, the snow erupts in color. Pink, orange, gold pigments created not by dye, but by the angle of photons refracting through crystals. Each hue lasts only seconds, unique to this exact morning, never to repeat again. In physics, it's scattering. In spirit, it's grace. The mountain glows because the world has decided once more to be gentle. A low fog drifts through the valleys, curling around treetops. This is temperature. Inversion, cool air, trapped below warm air, painting the illusion that clouds have come to rest on Earth. For a short while, sky and soil exchange roles. Even the atmosphere enjoys reversal. Dreamy science invites you to see this as lesson. Transformation doesn't always mean ascent. Sometimes peace is simply learning how to stay. You are safe now. In this light, nothing feels separate. The mountain, the mist, the air, and you, one continuous breath, one unfolding rhythm. Everything that existed through the long night still exists now, only illuminated differently. Awareness is the sansva of the mind. Each realization is dawn inside your chest. As daylight grows stronger, the mountain's shadows shorten. Streams sparkle. Insects resume their patient geometry of work, and the hum of the planet climbs a single octave brighter. From afar, this looks like repetition. Up close, it is renewal. Every morning, the mountain wakes into the same truth and finds it new again. That's how healing works. Repetition, until wonder returns. You are safe now. There is nowhere left to go, nothing left to prove. You have followed the night from silence to light, from breath to understanding. The laws of nature have become lullaby and lesson both. You have learned what the mountain has always known. Stillness is not the absence of life. It is life at its clearest frequency. The sleepy science narration softens to its closing hum. The peaks gleam. The rivers answer. The air smells of stone and morning. And as you rest somewhere between gratitude and awe, one truth lingers like a final note. You were never apart from any of it. You are the breath, the motion, the patience, the light. You are the mountain dreaming of itself quietly, endlessly, lovingly. The night is gone, but its peace remains. Carry it with you. Whenever the world grows loud again, close your eyes and listen. Beneath every sound, the earth still whispers the same vow. Even giants need time to rest, and so do you.